When my brother lost his job, my fiancée said, "Tell him to figure it out. It's not my responsibility." I just nodded. Later, when her dad asked me for a loan, I replied the exact same way. She called me heartless and begged for help. Kevin, 31, a financial analyst, had been with Mia, 30, an interior designer, for 4 stressful years. We lived in a high-rent, chic apartment in the Back Bay neighborhood of Boston, Massachusetts. My annual salary was $140,000, which made me feel perpetually behind in our high-pressure social circle. Mia earned $90,000. Our combined $230,000 income went almost entirely to maintaining our expensive facade. Our social life was dominated by her network of high-status clients and endless, costly wedding planning. The central issue in our relationship was Maya's cold calculation of worth. She had zero patience for anyone she deemed unsuccessful. This was brutally highlighted when my younger brother, Josh, lost his junior marketing job. Josh called me, feeling ashamed and asking for a temporary place to stay in our second bedroom. I presented the request to Mia that evening, hoping for basic empathy. "My brother needs a place to stay for a few weeks," I said, trying to sound casual. "He just got laid off." Mia, scrolling through wedding centerpiece photos, did not even look up. "Tell him to figure it out, Kevin," she snapped, her tone dismissive. "It's not my responsibility to house failures." Her callousness was a punch to the gut, but I simply nodded. I realized then that my loyalty was misplaced. My opportunity to escape her judgment arrived in the form of a major recruitment call. I interviewed for a VP of Finance position at a rapidly growing, stable tech firm in Raleigh, North Carolina. The compensation package was enormous. The offer included a base salary of $280,000, an immediate $50,000 signing bonus, and $70,000 in annual stock grants. My total first-year compensation was $400,000. This was a jump of $260,000 in income. I presented the offer, along with the detailed breakdown, to Mia over dinner. Her initial reaction was not excitement, but disgust. "Really?" she asked, setting her glass down hard. "That is the low-class South. No one important lives there." "It's a VP of Finance role, Mia," I insisted, trying to contain my deep disappointment. "It's the CFO track and $280K base. You are giving up Boston prestige for a cheap southern suburb." She scoffed, turning her nose up. "This proves you lack the grit to succeed in a real finance city." Her mocking insult was the final straw. I knew I had to leave her in Boston behind. Update 1. I formally accepted the VP of Finance role in Raleigh the next day. The company wanted me to start in 6 weeks. My preparations for departure began in absolute, military secrecy. I opened 3 new bank accounts, ensuring they were entirely separate from all our joint wedding and household funds. I immediately changed my direct deposit and began moving all my investments to these new, private accounts. Maya continued to operate under the assumption that her dismissal had closed the Raleigh subject. She refused to discuss the job whenever I brought it up. "I am not moving to North Carolina, Kevin," she would state flatly. "End of discussion. Find a real promotion here." "I have already secured a promotion," I replied once, keeping the tone light. "A very significant one." "It's a desperate move," she insisted, echoing her previous dismissive line. "You are running away from Boston competition." Our mutual friends, who admired Mia's social standing, quickly reinforced her narrative. My friend Greg called me, sounding highly skeptical. "Mia says you are running to a cheap state to be an accountant." Greg asked, his voice laced with judgment. "Is the rumor true?" "I will be the vice president of finance." I corrected him calmly. "I will be earning $400,000 this year. Boston's status is everything," he concluded, repeating her social creed. "You are just throwing away your network." I focused entirely on my meticulous, silent planning. I used my time to research Raleigh housing, securing a short-term, month-to-month executive rental. I documented every asset, expense, and shared payment over the last 4 years. The calm preparation was my shield against her mounting cruelty. Update 2. My start date in Raleigh was only 2 weeks away, and the final conversation was due. I asked Mia to meet me at a neutral location, a park overlooking the Charles River. I carried the fully drafted separation and asset division agreement. She arrived late, looking glamorous and completely unaware of what was coming. She immediately tried to seize control. "I decided we will stay, Kevin," she announced, sitting down with a superior air. "You can decline that provincial job. I resigned from my Boston firm 3 weeks ago," I informed her, placing the separation agreement on the bench between us. My flight to Raleigh is in 2 weeks. I start as VP of Finance on Monday. Her face drained of all color. She stared at the legal document, then at me, momentarily speechless. "You took the job," she finally whispered, her voice laced with disbelief and fury. "You did this behind my back. I made a rational career decision after you publicly mocked my ambition." I stated clearly. "You showed me your priorities when you refused to help my brother. I was trying to protect our finances." She insisted, trying to twist the motive. "E is an adult, Kevin. He can figure it out." "You showed me your heartlessness, Mia," I countered, the memory of her cruelty fresh in my mind. "And I have learned from your lesson." She immediately delivered the inevitable ultimatum, her eyes blazing with frustrated rage. "Fine," she spat out, pointing a shaking finger at the document. "You choose that pathetic South Carolina VP title over me. You choose money over your fiancée." I picked up my pen and signed the separation agreement, separating our finances completely. "I choose the VP of Finance role," I replied, my voice steady and cold. "I choose my self-respect and my future." Thus she stood up, looking utterly defeated, and walked away without signing or saying another word. The separation was complete. Update 3. The emotional fallout over the next 2 weeks was a relentless cycle of instability. Mia spent the first week sending torrents of enraged, abusive texts and voicemails. "You are going to hate the lack of culture." One text read, "You will fail in the South. You are a cold bastard. I look forward to the stability and the new professional challenge." I replied once, then blocked her number completely. She then shifted to desperate bargaining, reaching out through my mother, promising grand gestures of support. "Tell Kevin I will move to Raleigh and start my own interior design firm." She pleaded to my mother. "We can still use the wedding funds. The relationship is over." I instructed my mother to relay. I cannot trust her character. When bargaining failed, she entered a period of exaggerated depression, posting vague social media updates about emotional trauma and betrayal. I remained completely logical and detached, focused only on logistics. Her emotional theatrics no longer affected me. Moving day arrived, and Mia was predictably absent. She sent a text claiming she was too emotionally devastated to be present. I felt a profound, satisfying relief watching my boxes loaded onto the truck. The weight of her relentless judgment was finally lifted. My new life in Raleigh was immediate and calming. The VP of Finance role was stimulating, managing a dedicated and professional team. The cost of living was significantly lower. I felt respected, valued, and finally, truly ambitious. Update 4. I spent the next 9 months completely thriving in my new environment. I focused on my new executive role, joined a local cycling group, and attended professional development seminars. I made supportive, genuine friends in my neighborhood. My team at work successfully navigated a major compliance audit, earning me high praise and a hefty internal achievement award. My financial status was radically improved. The $50,000 signing bonus was a massive cash injection. I used my substantial capital to purchase a beautiful, modern 4-bedroom home. The property, valued at $650,000, was in an excellent neighborhood, and the mortgage was extremely comfortable. This was the first property I had owned outright. Around the 7-month mark, I started receiving confused messages from our old Boston circle. Her friend Sarah contacted me, sounding highly skeptical. "Kevin, I heard you left finance." Sarah texted, "Mia told everyone you took a downgrade to a low-level accountant role in a regional office." "I am the vice president of finance." I corrected her with calm authority. "I lead a major department and earn $400,000 this year." "She told us you failed in Boston and had to move home with your parents." Sarah admitted, clearly embarrassed. The extent of Maya's fabricated narrative was astonishing. She had completely fabricated a story of my failure to protect her ego. I ignored most of the friend messages, maintaining a polite, factual relationship only with her family. I knew the truth of my success was slowly spreading. Update 5. My company announced its plans for an IPO, and I was a key part of the executive team mentioned in the press release. I was featured in a professional photo next to the CEO. I posted the official announcement on my LinkedIn profile. The post included my full title, the company's valuation, and my high-level role in the upcoming public offering. The undeniable truth of my 400K plus life was instantly visible to everyone who searched my name. Maya's reaction was immediate and utterly desperate. My phone and email were flooded with frantic, pleading messages. Maya, Kevin, I am so proud of you. I always knew you were destined for greatness. We need to talk immediately.
Mia.
I made a massive mistake. Boston is too stressful. I should have supported you. I miss you so much. Maya, I see that you are the most successful man I know. We can still have the wedding. Her desperate attempts to reclaim me, now that I was undeniably successful, brought a cold satisfaction. Former friends and colleagues who had doubted me rushed to offer belated apologies. I am truly sorry I believed Maya's sad story. My old manager emailed me. VP of Finance is incredible, Kevin. Congratulations. Thank you. I replied simply. I am enjoying the leadership challenge. My family called, overflowing with pride for my career and my new house. Their genuine validation was all I needed. I deleted every single message from Mia without responding. My success was the only answer required. Update 6. The digital pleading reached a crescendo and was followed by an inevitable, physical appearance. I was walking out of my office building one afternoon when I saw Mia waiting near the curb. She was dressed in a suit, attempting to look professional and serious, but her face was strained. Kevin, thank goodness, she said, rushing toward me, her eyes wide with desperation. I flew here this morning. I had to see you. This is completely unnecessary and inappropriate. I stated, my voice low and firm. We are not together. I came here to tell you that I've changed. She insisted, trying to block my path to my car. I am ready to move to Raleigh and be the supportive fiancé you deserve. You only see me as the VP of Finance. I countered, looking at her without emotion. Not the financial analyst whose brother you called a failure and refused to help. I was selfish, I admit it. She pleaded, reaching out to touch my hand. I was only thinking of our money. You were cruel, Mia. I corrected her with complete certainty. And you are only here now because my net worth changed. She started to cry, trying to force sympathy. My heart has changed, Kevin, she insisted. I love you. We need to be married. Your circumstances changed. I replied, my voice completely firm. My wealth changed, and you decided I was worthy. That is not love. I pulled out my phone and began dialing my security contact for the building. She saw the number on the screen and realized I was serious. She threw her hands up in defeat and hurried away, heading back toward her rental car. The final, absolute rejection was complete. Update 7. Maya's final acts of revenge moved immediately into the legal and public sphere. I quickly received aggressive letters from a New York attorney. They claimed a partial interest in the money I spent on our former apartment and demanded compensation for the emotional trauma of the breakup. The letters were pure legal harassment. I forwarded everything to my Raleigh attorney, David, an expert in contract law. I had meticulously documented the entire separation, including the financial separation agreement. David quickly prepared a sharp, factual counter response. He noted that all assets were separated post-breakup and threatened a countersuit for malicious litigation. The legal demands stopped entirely. Next, Mia launched a final, desperate social media campaign. Using several anonymous profiles, she posted vicious, poorly written accusations. She claimed I was a heartless gold digger, and that I had abandoned her family in their time of need. Her campaign failed instantly and severely. Mutual friends who had followed her unraveling stepped in to defend me. They called her out publicly and ruthlessly. Old friend, Mia. He is a VP of Finance who owns a house. You left him for status. Stop lying. Acquaintance. She called his brother a failure. Now she is claiming he is heartless. We all know the truth. The public shaming and the clear evidence of her initial betrayal destroyed her credibility. Her few remaining allies retreated. She deleted the accounts within hours and completely vanished from the digital space. Her attempts at revenge had only solidified her defeat. Update 8. 1 year later, my life was profoundly successful and stable. I had solidified my VP of Finance title and received a significant stock option grant that had vested. My base salary was now 300,000 and my overall compensation package was nearly 500,000 annually. I purchased a third property, a small vacation rental. My net worth was now significant and growing rapidly. I was in a deeply loving, committed relationship with my new partner, Sarah, a kind and brilliant data engineer. Sarah was supportive, generous, and completely secure in her own success. I received one final, short message from Mia via an old, Defunct instant messaging application. Maya, I saw a picture of your new house. You have everything. I am still here. I am truly sorry for the words I used about your brother. I regret it. It was a final, honest admission of her deep regret and the painful consequences of her materialism. I felt a quiet sense of closure. I knew I needed to maintain the boundary firmly. Thank you for the message, Mia, I replied, keeping it short and kind. I wish you the best for your future. I immediately blocked the account. The chapter was closed with quiet dignity. I was far past the memory of her betrayal, fully focused on the life I had built. Final update, 2 months ago, I was back in Boston for a major executive meeting. I called Maya's parents, Bob and Joyce, whom I had always liked. We met for lunch at a casual, quiet spot. They looked subdued and carried a weight of worry. Kevin, you look absolutely radiant, Joyce said, giving me a sincere hug. The success is obvious. Rally has been very good to me, I confirmed, smiling warmly. Bob looked at me, his eyes filled with profound sadness and regret. We owe you a major apology, son, Bob began, his voice rough. We raised Mia to be self-centered and entitled. We taught her that only the most successful people were worth respecting. Joyce confessed, her voice thick with emotion. She could not see your character or your ambition. She only saw the money she thought you lacked. She was very cruel about my brother. I acknowledged gently. She was. Bob agreed, his shoulders slumping. And now she has nothing but the memory of the incredible life she mocked and destroyed. That is her life lesson. I accepted their sincere apology. Their admission of their flawed values brought the final, quiet closure I needed. The most important lesson I learned from Maya's betrayal is profound. When someone shows you a heartless lack of empathy, you must learn to replicate that heartlessness when they ask for help later. Do not argue with their selfishness or cruelty. Instead, calmly and rationally exit the relationship. Focus entirely on building your success, and let the facts of your thriving life be the only final reply. Your self-respect and peace are the ultimate revenge. I am 33 now, a VP of finance, and planning a wedding with Sarah. I am happy, financially secure, and completely fulfilled.